to this tournament and making sure that almost every series here will be that 2-0. But I got to say, really what made that game a victory for Select was the fact that his medevacs were incredibly low on energy, but he still utilized them, picked up units, moved them behind the force field, make sure that those zealots could not connect, moved them up to the high ground, make sure that those stalkers and those zealots had to go around to attack them. Just great control coming out of Dignitas Select right there.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of control that we saw from Select is something that works in theory, but then seeing it pulled off in practice is something special altogether. And as you can see, he is currently undefeated in this tournament thus far. And is that actually true that he's played on a different map in every single game? We've seen him, he has played on Tal'Darim Altar twice. But I mean, still very, very solid play, incredible flexibility. And in a few minutes, we're actually opening up the replay, and we'll get a chance to look back at that amazing control by Select in the midst of that battle. And while this is all going on, keep in mind that Idra and Sheth are setting up right now to play their Zerg versus Zerg.
That is going to be one hell of a match, but Select just looked so happy and almost relieved. I mean, going up against Huk is not an easy feat, and he took him out pretty easily. That last game looked so strong for Huk. Huk actually looks pretty devastated right there on the camera shot. But the last game, I'm not even sure how Select held. It was so close there at his ramp. Those bunkers just were simply not taking damage. That factory landed in front of the middle bunker. He was just making sure that nothing could actually be done to it. The zealots could not connect, so it was just relying on the sentry and the stalkers. And Sean, I think you're about reaching that critical point in the replay.
Yeah, we're actually going to pop back into the replay and watch this attack that's incoming for Select. I mean, if we actually pause and look at the unit count, we see 7 Marauders, 11 Marines, 5 Stalkers, 7 Zealots, and the 3 Sentries are actually the thing that I think is most significant about this position for Huk, that Huk really should be okay, especially considering that he has these 5 warp gates that are about to have a production cycle of units pop to the front. Ordinarily, many Protosses would be running away from this battle. But as we see, in this battle, Select is going to be doing some crazy drop control. This is the expected response from Huk to throw down defensive force fields to prevent these Zealots from actually getting up. Prevent these Marines from coming up. He doesn't actually have his Stalkers in the battle. His Stalkers, actually were down here trying to defend against a drop. If those Stalkers were there, he'd want that slice of force fields a little bit deeper into the army. But then all of a sudden, this great little drop means that Select has this gigantic arc of units. The Zealots try to start springing forward. This is the expected control once again. But as we see, look at all those units in front of the force field getting picked up into this one medevac. And with not that many Stalkers, Select is just constantly pulling to the backside, effectively saying, your Zealots are meaningless. It is only your Sentries and Stalkers that are going to be doing damage in this fight. And even then, we see still yet more rearrangements. As these units look low, Select is going to scoop them up into those medevacs in a moment to do a big retreat. Oh, actually, no, he let them die. But I mean, this is the moment where I think, again, many Terran players would just simply fall back. This looked like a little bit of an error to let those units slip forward. And I honestly was 100% convinced that Select would pull back as he was getting a 3rd base up. But he does a push again, and look at that rearrangement control, consistently pulling everything back, the restim, and eventually it was just too much for Huk to handle. I mean, just seeing that APM in there, seeing in the units lost tab, look at how much Huk is losing due to this incredible control by Select, doubling his opponent, and we are not very far into the game at all. But of course, with control like that, what do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, Select, that was just great control all around, really. I mean, even the hold at the beginning of the game, it looked great. But let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket. Select will be moving on. He's going to be waiting for the winner between Team Liquid's very own Sheth and EG Idra, which is going to be our next match here in just a couple of minutes. A good old DBZ between bad people and good people. Between light and dark. Between night and day, Sean.
Oh my goodness. And they even have day casting. That joke was not funny at all. Let's talk a little bit about the match coming up. Stylistically, we've seen Idra Very, very solid, but Zerg vs. Zerg is a matchup that is all about craziness, split-second decisions, pristine Baneling control. But Sheth has always said he has a lot of trouble in that matchup.
Yeah, I saw a statistic earlier. Both players are sitting around 67 or 68% win percentage in this matchup. These are definitely two of North America's best ZVZers, and they're going to be going head-to-head here at the Battle.net Starcraft 2 Invitational. Sean, I cannot wait for that match.
I am really excited, not just for that one, but for the match that will begin tomorrow, the Winners Bracket Finals, which will be between Select and one of those Zerg players. Will that aggression be enough to take one of them down? It wasn't for DDE, but it's going to be starting at 10 a.m. local time. So for any of you who are curious about when the action will heat up tomorrow, again, 10 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m., which is literally in 10 minutes, will be Sheth versus Hydra. I'm Day 9.
And I am JP McDaniel. Cannot wait for that match. Who's going to be going on to play against Select in the winner bracket final tomorrow morning? We're going to have to wait and see. The battle between good and evil is about to commence. Do not miss it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the next match between EG Hydra and Team Liquid Sheth.